Okay, hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we have an interesting one. It is called Hot and Cold by, is it Belamis or Belamis? I'm not sure. I apologize for not knowing exactly how to say that. Um, but as you can see, we've got quite the interesting clue here. And let's get into that one and see what we got going on. So the rules for this one are normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, every column, every 3x3 box contain the digits 1 through 9 once each. We've got digits along a thermometer must increase from bulb to the tip, which is an interesting thing to say with this thermometer here. So there must be some other qualifying instances. Kropki dots, digits and cells separated by black dot. So one of these, any of these are Kropki dots, must have a ratio of 1 to 2. So whatever this digit is, this is half or double the other one. And now it looks like we're getting into something that's going to allow this to work. So when a 9 is placed on a thermo, digits must instead reduce along a thermo until the next 1. When a 1 is placed on a thermo, digits must instead increase along the thermo until the next 9. Okay, that makes some sense. So this is, as the title says, hot and cold. So what does this actually mean? Well, if this started out as a 1 and went all the way up to 9, then this 9 would be here, and then you'd have to start back down from 8 or any other digit. It doesn't have to necessarily, I'm not going to look or divulge further into what can or cannot be on these things, but let's say this did go up from 1 to 9. This could be 7, 6, 2, 1, and then start going back up again. It's just stating that at every 9 you must go back down, and at every 1 you must start going back up until you hit either the 1 or the 9 again. So those are the rules to hot and cold by Belamis. Again, I'm going to just stick with that pronunciation for now. Where do we start? Now, we cannot do our normal Sudoku or thermo rules or tricks here, because this could easily be a 9. This could be a 9. Get out of here. This could be a 9. So a 9 could occur anywhere, because then we can start going back down. We don't have to have a 9 at a tip. And as you can see, we can clearly never have 9 in this region be on a tip, and we can never have a 1 be on a bulb. So that said, well, I guess our Kropki dots are going to give us a little bit of a something to start with. We've got a set of, 2 consecutive Kropki dots, but a set of 3 digits on Kropki dots in line with each other. So there's only a few things you can put on Kropki dots. We can't put 5, 7, and 9 because you can never have or double either of those 3 digits and have a normal applying Sudoku digit. So the possibilities are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8 on Kropkis. Well, you can't, when you have an inline set of Kropkis, you can't put 3, 6 on them, because you'd have to put, let's say you put a 3 here, you have to put a 6 on each side, and that breaks the normal Sudokus. So this would have to be from 1, 2, 4, and 8. Now, this one can't be 1 or 8, because then these 2 digits would have to repeat as well. Now that we know we've got a 1, 2, 4, 8, we've already used 3 of the possible 4 digits on the 1, 2, 4, 8. So this one cannot be from that same set, so it has to be 3, 6. Does that do much for us? Well, it kind of could. Because if we start at a 3, let's say, and go upward, it would start here, it could go to 4 or 8. There's no necessary given digit that it has to go to, but it would be low, gain, could possibly continue to gain here, but if it kept going up, it would have to hit a 9 at some point in one of these 2 digits so that it could then start coming back down. Because there's no way, in the way these digits are lined up, we could continue to go in the upward direction. And I don't believe there's any way you can do it the opposite way either. Let's say this was a 6 and this went downward. 6, 4, 5, 3, which obviously wouldn't work because of this, but 2, and then you'd have to find you couldn't transition. You'd have to put a 9 in here. I think what I'm trying to say is, and I don't know if this is 100% correct, but I think there has to be a 9 in one of these two digits, because we're going to have to transition from this section. It could be this whole section, it could just be this section, it could be this section, we don't know, but some form of digits where we're going up to 9, and then we're going to be coming back down to 9, or or the opposite could be true, where this is coming up to 9, and then we're going back down from 9. Now, if that is the case, does that prove there has to be a 9 over here? And could it also prove that maybe there has to be a 1 to be able to make, or a 1 somewhere else, to make the transition back? Because the only way this could ever just be going in one direction is if it started on one of these endpoints and was just straight up. But clearly that cannot occur. Now, going back to it, can we prove a 1 or a 9 has to be in one of these situations? Can this ever be a 1? Let's start with that. And I think the answer is going to be yes. But let's look at it. Now, this could be a 3. We can go down to a 1. The second we hit 1, this becomes 2, 4, and 6. So we'd have to go 3 down to 1. We'd have to come back up, to like a 5, 7, or something along those lines. But then we'd have to get into a 2 somehow. Well, how the heck would that work? Can it work? If this was 3 and we went down to 1, even if it was 6 and we went down to 1, I don't think it matters. This has to go up. I think we know we have to have 2 and 4 in here, so I should probably just put that in. It's either 2, 4, 8 or 1, 2, 4. Yeah. So let's say we're going down to a 1. Now, once we transition from that 1, we've got to go back upward. And we cannot use 2, 3, 4, or 6 to do so. So that would say that this could be a 5 or 7 or something along those lines. No matter what it is, we're above what this is. So if this was a 1, this has to have a 9 on it somewhere so that we can start the transition back down. I don't know if we can say it's this one or this one. There might be a way to parse down with options to get there, but I want to try to stick to more general concept to start with. So if this is 1, it does require there to be a 9 in one of these so that we can then come back down the road. And then clearly the only way, well, that would break, wouldn't it? Thinking about that. Let's say this is 1. Doesn't matter where we start, 6 or 3. We have to come down, we'd come down to a 1, and then we'd have to find our way up. And we have to get above the 2, 4, 3, 6 limitations we have. So no matter what, you would have a 9. If this is 1, you'd have a 9 somewhere in here, and then you'd be coming back down. Now, if you're coming back down, let's just say this is a 9 for the example. The only way to come back down through here would be 4, 3. And that would break the 1 no matter what. But then we'd have to be able to put another 1 up here to be able to start our transition back up. And therefore, we've already used 2 1s. Is that enough to say this definitely isn't a 1? Say could the 9 be here in this? Let's try to look at another instance where if this was a 1. So whatever this is, I don't care. 1, let's say, then it goes to 9, then it has to start coming down. Now it could go to 7, it could go to 8, who cares? But again, we'd have to be 4, 3, and we'd have to hit a 1 to come back up. So this cannot be 1. There's no way that'll work. So, can this be a 4? Yeah, it could be 4, 2, 1. Okay. Can we do the same kind of logic here? I'm not sure if it works. Well, if this was a 1, it would essentially mean that we'd have to go up in, well, yeah, we'd be going up in both directions if you're looking from the 1. So this would have to go up, and it would have to go, we couldn't use a 2 or a 4, so it would have to be like a 5 to hit this 6, and then we're broken again. So I think we can rule out a 1 from both of these. And if we do that, we're going to get a digit or 2. I want to look at that again just to make sure I'm not making a mistake. If this is a 1, we must go up. We can't use 3, 4, or 6. The only thing in between 1 and a 3 or a 6 that we could use is 5. So it'd be 1, 5, 6, and then we've broken it. So this can't be 1. Okay. Now that said, this is 2, 4, 8. So the middle digit has to be the 4. Let's get rid of these markings. We don't need them anymore. So now it might help to put these digits in what they can be. There are 2 options here. It could be 3 down to 2, down to a 1 that would break because you can't come back. There'd be nothing else to get back into a 4. Now it could be 3 to 8. Well, let's look at 6 down to 2. Let's see if we can rule out 2 here. We said if we go 3 to 2, you'd have to put a 1 in one of these. You'd have to put a 1 here, and there's absolutely nothing you can put there. Now, if this was a 6 going down to 2, this would still be a 1, and you can't put, you've already used your 1, you've used your 2, you got your 3 and your 6 done here, and you've got a 4 here, so this would break again. So I don't think this can't be 2. This has to be 8 and 2. Now, what that means is we're going upwards. We are going up, and this 8 means we have to hit a 9 next. Now we have to start coming down. And we can't make a transition to go back up until we hit a 1. So this has to continue down. So that has to be 3, this has to be 6. Now, this 3 then has to have a 1 next to it so that we can transition back upwards. It means these are 5 and 7. Now, I don't necessarily know which one this is because it just has to be between 9 and 4. Either one works. And then this one just has to be between 2 and something up here. And this could still be an 8, let's say, if it comes up to 8, and then it could hit 9 and come back down the slope again. Okay. That was a lot of figuring out on that one to get started. So let's see if we can do more with it. What can these on the Kropki dot be? They could be 1, they could be 3, 6, and they can't be 8. So I think what that's telling me is, because we can't use 2, 4, or 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8 are the only options. The only things we can put on these now are 1, 3, and 6. So what does that mean? It means that one of these is a 3 or a 6, which means the other one is a 3 or a 6 companion with it. The other one has to be a 1, which means it has to go with a 2. So these are from 2, 3, and 6. We don't know just yet which one is which, I don't think, unless we start getting back into our climbing and descending. Now, we're going to be going up this direction. And I wonder if coloring these in, showing which one's rising in temperatures, which one's decreasing in temperatures might help. our cause. Because if we look down here, we're going down, so we're cooling off. Now we're starting to heat back up again. I'm going to do that, just maybe it'll help visually, so we don't miss a transition or something like that. Okay, so we know we've got 1, 2, 3, and 6 in here. Now I think what that means is that if we started on a 1 here, we have to be going up. So it has to be 1, 2, 3, 6 like that. And if we start with the 1 here, it has to do the exact opposite and go 2, 3, 6. So I think these always have to be 2, 3, and these always have to be 1, 6. We don't know which way it's going, though. We've either come from high and gone down and start coming down, or we come from high, we've got to the bottom, and then we start coming back up, or we make a transition somewhere and then we start coming down. Those seem to be our options. Do I want to run through possibilities here? Because this could, well, this can't be 1, 2. There's a lot of things it can't be, really. It can't be 1, 2, 3. It could be 4. It can't be 5. It can't be 6. It can't be 7. It could be 8. So that actually is going to give us something, because we are ascending. So if we're going in the upward direction, this can never be a 4, because there's nothing in between it on the rise. So this has to be an 8. Now that means we've continued to ascend. And we now have to make the descent after we've hit our 9. So now we have to have a situation where we're coming down from 9, and we either have to get to a 6, which I think is not going to work, or we have to get down to a 1. Now, could this ever be 6? Well, no, wait, let me reverse that. I was thinking backwards. We're coming back down, so this has to be cold, or it has to be cooling off. Now, the only way to continue to cool off before hitting a 1, because there's clearly no 1 here, would be like 7, 6.5, and 6. So this can never be a 6, because I can't make the transition from a 6 without making a change in direction. So this is going to have to be 1. So it's going to have to be 1, 2, 3, 6 like this. This is all going up in direction. I think the up and downs are not going to help me too much, but I'm going to put 1s as, okay, maybe it will. This has to be cooling. So this has to go from 9, 2 digits go down to the 1, then it's going to start rising, and it cannot get to a 9, so it has to be higher than a 6, so this has to be 7. It has to do that. Now this is either an 8 or a 9, because it has to reach above the 7. These 2 digits are 4 and 5, and they have to continue in a path from 9, cooling down to 1. So this has to be 5, this has to be 4. Okay. We are getting somewhere slowly but surely. And don't call me Shirley. This is 3, 5, and 7. These, we know, have to be 1, 4, and 6. Okay. And then these, of course, have to be 2, 8, 9. What can I determine from there? So we know this is either 8 or 9. Well, looking at what can go in this position, we have to make a transition here, because there's nowhere else we can transition. Because if the 9 is up here somewhere, we're forced now to just go off the scales. So 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, because we can't get to a 9. So this has to be 9. Now we're going to start coming down, which means this has to cool off. Now, can it cool down so fast that it gets to a 1 here? 9, 3, 1, and then it has to continue upward. Now, if this was a 1, this would have to be 4, 5, 7, and then I can't go any higher than 7. And I can't reuse the 1 because I've already had it here, so this can't be 1. So this is not where it starts to transition. One of these two is. Now, can we continue that thought? Now, this clearly can't be a 3, because if it was a 3, it would have to keep going down until it hit a 1. It can't do that. So this is 5 or 7. Now, could it go 5, 4, 1, and then start back up? If it did, we've used the 5. Yeah, if this is a 5, this has to be 4 and 1. And then we've got a 3 and a 7 left here, so it has to go 3, 7, but it has to continue above 7, and we still don't have a possibility of there being an 8 or a 9 here, so this can't be 5. This is 7. Oh, this is picking at things to get through here, but it's working out. It's an interesting bit of logic and way of going about this. And maybe there's an easier way that you guys have figured out how to do it. But this is working for me, so I'm going to stick with it. Now, if this is a 7, we know we're still going down. Can we could hit a 1 here. And we could do it if this was 1, 3, 5, 6. That would work. Now, is there any way we can wait until we get here? No, is the answer to be the 1. So this is going to have to be 1. The reason why is if we had to wait till here, we'd have to have digits always going down until we got here. So it'd have to be 7, 6, 4, 3, and then we're stuck. So this is 1. 1 can go away. Now we know which direction we're moving in. Let's put these as cooling. These have to be rising, all of them. So therefore, this has to be 3, this has to be 5, this has to be 6, this has to be 4. That 4 is going to put a 2 or an 8. What the heck did that do that? 2 or 8 right there. Okay. These are not 9. Let's get those out of there. Now, we know this is going to continue to rise. It cannot be a 9, because you can't put a 9 on a black Kropki. It can't be a 7, because you can't put a 7 on a black Kropki. So this has to be 8, and therefore we have to get to 9. So we've now gone back up to 9. This has to be 2, and it's going to be, well, we don't know that it's cooling or heating up, because we don't know where the 1 is. Well, technically, we could say it has to be cooling, because if it wasn't, or it has to be, yeah, it has to be cooling, because if it was rising, there would have to be a 1 here, and it can't be a 1 here. And we actually just know this is a 4 anyway. But I'm not going to mark that just yet. So we have to come down a slope, essentially, from our 9. And we've got to get to a 1. And the 1's going to have to be here, because we can never go anywhere between or lower than a 2 without hitting 1. So all of this is cooling to this point, and then we're going to have to start to warm back up again. So these all have to be from 5, 6, 7, and 3. Now we know these aren't 5 or 6. These aren't 3. This is not 7. That's all of them, right? Okay. So this clearly can't be 3 either, because this has to keep cooling. So this has to be 7. These have to be in a cooling manner, so they has to be 6, then 5. This has to go up to 3. It's all that's left. Okay. Now, this has to continue to be warming up. Now, where can it transition? We're looking at our 9s, because we're getting warmer. It could be either any of these 4 digits, it looks like. Now, could we very quickly jump into a 9 here? If we did that, we'd have to come down our slope somehow and hit a 1 at some point and then come back up, which looks like that's certainly possible. This 8 right here, let's give us our 2 and our 8. And since these have nothing to do with our heating and cooling, I'm not going to color them in. Okay, now, I don't know that I can start writing digits in here without it being a little bit off the wall, but let's give it a try. We know this has to be higher than 3, so it's either 4, 5, can't be 6 or 7, 8 or 9. Those are our options. Now, if it, like I said, if it was 9, then we'd have to start cooling down again, but we don't have enough information right there to say so. We've used all our Kropki dots on these areas, so we don't have anything else showing at us just yet. Can we put any other digits, like cross-referencing these to see what these kind of digits is? I think we're going to have to do that. So this could be 2, can't be 3, could be 4, can't be 5, 6, 7, and it could be 8, which is not a lot. This one could be 1, can't be 2, 3, or 4. It could be 5, can't be 6, 7, or 8. It could be 9. Now, I think we can say this absolutely cannot be 9 because this has to be rising. If it took us to get to here to be, well, maybe I'm wrong on that one. It could be 9 because this could just keep rising to get to 9. Okay, I saw something there. I thought I saw something there that's not quite accurate. This could be a 1 as well, I believe, because you could just go up to a 9, and then you're going to start coming down. You're going to very quickly get back to a 1, and you have to go all the way up until you get out. Now, that may be possible. It looks a bit far-fetched, but it might be possible. Can we continue our little path? I wish I wasn't having to put these all in here like this. Maybe I'm not seeing another better way to do it, but let's continue on the path for a moment and see if we get something determination. So now, these can be, it obviously can't be 1, 2, 4, or 8, so 3, 5, 6, 7, 9. Could this ever be a 9? And I think the answer is no. Because we're either, because if we are rising, this doesn't necessarily have to continue to rise to this point, but it very well could. But if we were rising, this could be, the lowest it could be is 4. This would then have to be an 8, and this would have to be a 9. So then we'd have to be coming back down at the bare minimum at this point. So this cannot be 9. Because we can't make that transition. I mean, I guess you could technically say if we did come down to a 1, this could instantly get to a 9. So let me put that back in for a second, just to make sure I wasn't saying something that wasn't correct. Now, if we did a 1, 9 back to back, it seems unlikely, but I think it could be possible. These have to continue to decrease across the board. That seems like it could work. 3, well, I think we can make a determination about this digit. There's no, well, no, we can't. Gosh darn it. I keep wanting to say we can, but this possibility that this is a 9 does throw a spanner in the wrench. A spanner in the wrench? Wow, spanner in the works. Because we definitely could go from 9 to 2. Well, can we? If we go 9 and then we come back down, 8, 5, 3, this would have, if this was a 9, I think it forces this to be a 1. Because we'd have to get down. We can't go too slowly. The very slowest we could come down from the 9 would be 8, 5, 3. Now we'd have to put a 2 or a 1 here, but we cannot do so. Now the only way to make that work is if this was the 9 and we somehow came down, we'd have to make our transition right here at the 1. And then continue all the way back up until we got somewhere down in here. Is there something that tells me that is incorrect or correct? There must be, right? if we are increasing at least to here, if we then decrease, we have to go to there and then start our increase back up. This might, I might have to put more digits in here that I don't really want it to pick apart like this, but maybe this is what I just need to do for a little bit, just to kind of get my grasp on where things transition here, because it looks like there could be multiple options. So what can this digit be? It can't be 1, 2, could be 3, it can't be 4 or 5, 6, 7, and 8 are the options. So do we have to transition to a 9 in one of these? I think the answer is going to be yes. Good. Well, I think we can rule this one out, now that I'm looking at it. If this is a 3, and we have to get at some point to a 9 to transition, no matter what we put here, if this is not a 9, this has to be 8, which means this has to be 9. Then if we just make the 9 transition right here, then we're coming back down again, and this can never be 9. So that's never 9. So we've either made our transition here and start coming down, or we made our transition here and start coming down, or we made a transition here and a transition here. My mind is starting to melt a little bit because there's a lot of different paths I think this can take. Let's put that 9 in one of those two for now, to tell myself that it does appear that you have to transition at one of these two. It either does so here, or we're forced to do so here. And if we do so here, then we have to start coming down the mountain. And then we have to transition somewhere here at our 1. I really don't want to try to force this entire thing. It's what I'm trying to avoid doing. And see if there's something else that makes more sense in a broader view. I don't feel like it does, which is kind of getting to me. Let's continue a little bit further on just putting digits in. So we've got, it can't be 1, 2, 3, 4. It could be 5, it can't be 6 or 7, it's 8 or 9. So this is a semi-high digit. Can this ever be 3? Well, this can't be 9. We just said that because there's no way, because we have to transition one of these things. Which means this can never be 8, because we've already transitioned to, right? This can never be 8. I think that's accurate. I'm going to step away from it for just a second. If this couldn't be, I'm pulling my head together here. If we transition here to the 9, we're transitioning back to the 1. If we don't go 9 here, we go 9 here, and we have to start coming down. Now, if we start coming down from 9, we could definitely do 7, 6, 5. This could never be an 8. But if we transition 9 here, forcing our 1 here, we have to be going up the hill. This, again, could never be 8, because it would force this to be a 9, which we've already used. I think what I'm trying to say is this is a 5. And I want to run that through one more time. If this is a 9, this has to be a 1. If that is a 1, it has to come up, and there would have to be a 9 over here, which it cannot be. if this is the 9, we're now coming down. So this can never be an 8. This has to be a 5. Yeah, that's just the only way it's going to work. So none of these are 5s. So this... So we said we were coming down. If this is a 9, we're coming down to 1, and then we're coming back up. If this is the 9, we're coming down to the 5. This could never be 8 in either situation, because we're either coming up or we're coming down. But we've already below the 8, so this is not 8. This is really becoming an exercise in particulate. Excuse me. I feel like there is something here that I'm not quite seeing correctly. That's going to make this made this an easier determination on some of this stuff, but I don't quite see it. So we're either coming up to a 5 or we're coming down to a 5. Now, if we're coming down to a 5, that forces our 1 in one of these two spots, which we already previously said. And if we're coming up from a 5, this would have to be 6, 7, 8. Wait, we can never come up to a 5 here. We'd have to have 3, 3. So this has to be coming down. So this has to be 9. Then we can get rid of our 9 over here. So this has to be 8. This has to be 4. Let's just make sure that's correct one more time. If this was the 1, we would have to be stepping up to a 5. We cannot possibly do that, so therefore that cannot be correct. So this is 9. Okay. Let's get rid of these. This has to be 8. This has to be 4. Ooh, that took a little while. We got to them. Now we have to be coming down to 5, so this has to be 7 and 6 in that way. These are cooling off. We have to... Well, let's just type these digits in. So it's 1, 2, and 3. This can't be 1. This can't be 3. This can't be 2. Now, if we are just coming straight down to this 1, it would break, because you can't do 2, 2, 1, or something like that. So this can never be 1. So this is 3, which means this is 1. This is 2. So this is where we stop coming down. We start going back up. Ooh. Now we've got these 3 digits, which are 1, 5, and 6. This is not 1. This is not 6. So we are coming up. So this could never be a 1. And this has to be 5, 6. And this has to be 1, which is going to give us our 7 and our 5. We are still on the uptrend. We've got... These have to be, well, they don't have to be, but we have to get, we cannot transition here to start going back down because we have a 9 looking at it. So let's put these digits in again. 3, 4, and 7. So we have to be going on the upward trajectory no matter what. So this is 7. These are not 7s. Now, this is either going to be an 8 or a 9, and it's going to be a higher digit. Let's put these in. We still need 2 and... Well, it's 2, 8, and 9 are the options. This can't be 2. This couldn't be 2, so this is 2. So this is an 8-9 pair, which means this has to be 8, this has to be 9. We've now hit the top of our thermo, and we have to start coming back down the hill again. So this has to be lower than 9. 8, 6, 4, or 3 are possibilities. I think we should just type all of these in because it's probably going to help us a little bit here. We have to be coming down. We cannot make a transition, which means this can never be 8. This can never be 3. We have to be coming in a downward trajectory, and then we have to come all the way down to a possibility of this being a 1 which would actually be quite interesting if the tip of this was a 1, just because it's antithetical. That's not the right word. It's against what normal thermo rules would have you believe, which would make it ironic. So if we are coming downwards, we have to get to either we have to get to a 1 here, or we have to continue the process of going down until we find a digit otherwise. Now, 6, 5, 4, 3 would be something, but then we can't quite do that. So maybe let's start putting these digits in again. So these can be from 4, 6, or 7. These can be from 3, 8, or 9. And these can be from 1, 2, and 5. Now, we can never go to 9 because we're coming downwards and we haven't hit a transition yet. This can never be 8 because we're coming down and we haven't had a transition yet. So that is 3. So this is not 5. This can't be 3. This can't be 4 either because we're coming downwards. If this is a 4, this would have to be a 3.5. So this is 6. This has to be higher than 6, so it's 8. This can't be 6 or 7. Or can't be 6 because we're seeing a 6. It can't be 7 because that would make it go back up again without a transition. So this is 4. These are not 6 or 8. We've got a 3, 4 pair. Now, we are almost to the tip. And can we say, well, we can determine this digit because we've got this Kropki dot conveniently placed here to help us out. If this was a 4, this would have to be a 2 or an 8. It sees 2 and 8. So this has to be 3, 4, 3. Now this 3 has to see a 6. Now it's going to give us a 7. These two digits are 8 and 9. So this has to be 9. This has to be 8. These 3 digits are from 1, 2, and 5. Okay, so let's do our cooling. We know it's going to continue to cool whether it goes to a 1 or a 2, so let's just put that in there. And let's Sudoku this thing, because it looks like that's pretty much where we're at. So can we find a digit that's going to help us? The 3 looks like it is, because we only have 1 left, so it has to be here. These 2 digits have to be from 4 and 1. And we have a 4 here. So this is 1, 4. That 1 sees this as actually isn't a 1. It turns out to be a 2. So we never did get back to a 1 to transition. Slightly sad on that one, but that's fine. This has to be from 2, 7, and 9. This is not 7 or 9, so it's 2. These are not 2, clearly. These have to be from 5, 6, and 8. This is not 6 or 8, so it's 5. This is not 6, so it's 8. And this is 6. That 5 gives me our 1 and our 5. These 2 digits now have to be from 1 and 4. Yes, there's a 1 here and a 4 here, so it just tells me 1 and 4. These 2, let's do it this way because we've got a digit up here that's kind of messing with us, or a sample of digits. These have to be from 2 and 9. We've got a 2, so let's get our 9 and our 2, and that's going to free this up for 7 and 9. Now we've got 5 has to go here and 7 has to go here, and looks good as far as I can tell. And there we go. So that was an interesting puzzle. It completely turns around how you think about thermometers, and in a good way. And it really made me rack my brain to figure out how the transitions, how the twists and turns all work together. So it took me a little while, about 40 minutes or so, but not bad, I would say, especially at how I kind of struggled to start and to get the momentum going. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that one. If you did, just let me know. If you didn't, let me know. And if you had any other ways that you saw on how to do this a little bit more, what's the best way to put it? Quicker or without less hassle as trying to type in a bunch of different numbers, let me know. I'd love to hear how you guys figured that out. So I will see you all guys in the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye.